After I published my video about the Thomas Friends Great Race Near and Far, I went looking on the Thomas Friends YouTube page, and I never realized how much content there is on their YouTube channel. You have the Thomas Creator Collective, Character Podcast, some trailers, the new CGI mini-series. Trust me, I will definitely make some videos on these series one day. But the one I would like to talk about today is Thomas's Aussie Adventure. Thomas's Aussie Adventure, or as I would like to call it, TAA, uses the same style as the Great Race Friends Near and Far. This series came out on July 10th, 2017, and this series came out after the Great Race Near and Far, but both series were most likely made at the same time. This series is about Thomas and Shane learning about Australian football. There are also two kids that they meet. Their names are Jack and Kylie. Jack and Kylie are fans of Australian football, and the only reason they ever meet Thomas and Shane is because they were late to getting onto their train. Jack and Kylie aren't too interesting, but they're overall pretty nice characters. There is also another main-ish character named Tracy. She's kind of just a generic happy character who also likes Australian football. She only appears a couple times throughout both seasons, and she isn't really that important. She's also friends with Shane. One of the things that the show does amazingly is their intro. It's a nice little picture of Jack, Kylie, Thomas, and Shane, and the AFL football logo. And that intro theme is just amazing. You might be wondering, since this show is set in Australia, is this an Australian dub of Thomas and Friends? No. That is kind of weird that they didn't do that, but speaking of weirdness, let's get into some weirdness in the show. In the first episode of Season 1, it says that Thomas goes to visit his friend Shane. But this is technically an error because Thomas is never friends with Shane in the Great Race. They don't even bother explaining why they're friends. This annoys me. You can't just say that Thomas is friends with a character he never even spoke to. Now this isn't all bad, maybe since Shane is a main character, maybe they'll show us more about him, and maybe give us a backstory. I'm sorry to say, but this never happened. But that is okay, because the series is only 3 minutes long, and the episodes, while not making much sense with how Thomas and Shane are friends, are really enjoyable to watch. I still don't understand why that they didn't even bother to even just say one line about how they were friends. It'd been kind of cooler if they weren't friends and they had to build up that friendship. But seeing how the time was only 3 minutes, that's okay that they didn't do that. It is kind of nice though that it is 3 minutes because they don't waste much of your time and they get right into the plot. The seasons aren't anything groundbreaking, but that's okay because it didn't need to be that. This series is just a nice mini-series that has Australian football in it. They do have some strange scenes where the engines are off the rails playing football, but at least we can tell this is Thomas's imagination. I'm honestly really glad because they didn't make that mistake like Jeremy on Sodor did. We also get to see Percy and Emily in these dream scenes, and they don't look that bad, except for Emily's face. Her face is just creepy in some of these shots. Like, what is this? It's not that bad. I don't like the way her face looks. I mean, this is coming from the same person that likes the way Emily's face looks in All Engines Go. I mean, it's definitely one of her weirdest looking faces. This show honestly does have some weird looking faces, like the human faces. The human faces can go from looking nice to constipated. It's probably just the style that makes the faces look off. And it seems like upgrading the human faces was a huge thing they wanted to do in the second season. Now, there really isn't much left to talk about this series, just because there isn't much about it. I mean, we have another character that gets introduced in season 2 named Gary, and he's basically just Ace, but calm. And there's this guy named Brownlow Medal Winner, I'm not joking, who tells Thomas and Shane to not give up, which isn't a bad message to put in a kid's show. This show isn't super boring, but it isn't super eventful either. I definitely recommend watching it if you want more Thomas Friends content to watch. But if you don't, this is definitely an easy miss for you. That'll be it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. I will see you all in another video. Goodbye.